Hey guys, it's John here from Sonic Drive Studio. I hope you're all doing okay. I recently released a pickup comparison video on the channel that you may have already seen. If you haven't seen that video yet, do check it out up here or down here if you're interested. As of right now, that video has reached over 100,000 views, so that's great. I'm really happy about that. Thank you all for watching that video. You guys are obviously interested in those types of videos, so that is good to know. Now in that video I compared 6 different guitar pickup types, but I compared them through my Line 6 Helix Native plugin in my DAW. It's basically my favorite guitar amp and effects suite plugin. I really love that plugin and I think it sounds awesome. And in that comparison I think it sounded great as well. However, some of you asked me in the comments if the differences between the pickups would be more obvious if I ran them through a tube amp. So that's what we're going to do today. I also really enjoy comparing these pickups through various types of amplifiers, so I'm all for it. So in this video, we're going to compare the pickups through my trusty Peavey 6505 tube amplifier. You all know this amplifier. It's legendary, so it's a great amp to start with, basically. So I have 4 of the exact same guitars, although 2 of them are black and 2 of them are white. Of course, I'm talking about my wonderful ESP LTD Phoenix, Black Metal, and Arctic Metal guitars. They have the exact same string gauges from the brand Elixir, all tuned to drop C, and all the strings are fresh as well. I swapped some pickups out in these guitars, so we've got 6 pickups in total, and the pickups that we're going to compare are the Seymour Duncan JB, the Seymour Duncan Nazgul, the Seymour Duncan Distortion, the Fishman Fluence Modern, and the EMG 81TW, as well as the EMG 81. And just as in the last video, first we're going to listen to these pickups through the clean channel of this amplifier, although it's not completely clean. It does have a little bit of grit on it. And then for all the heavy riffs, of course, we're going to use the lead channel on this amplifier. Now the amp is being fed into my RedSeven Amplification Amp Central Reactive Load, a wonderful sounding reactive load that I like to use in all my videos basically. And then the sound is being fed into a wonderful sounding York Audio Cab IR from the MES412OS package, a legendary pack, mic mix 01 to be precise, which is a blend between a 57 and a 121 mic. Okay, so let's just take a listen to how all these pickups sound through this amplifier. Here we go. right. And again, all these pickups have their own unique flavor, just as in the last video. Some of the differences may be a little bit subtle to you, but in general, I do think that they all have their own unique sound. Some of them have slightly higher or lower output than the others. Some of them have more low end, some of them have more top end, and some of them have more mid-range push. But are the differences more obvious because of the fact that I'm using a tube amplifier as opposed to using a plug-in? I'm not sure yet, I'm not convinced yet, so I'll leave that up to you guys. And now let's check out that same thing, but this time with the guitars isolated. Here we go. Alright, so I will share my observations on these pickups. The Duncans all sound great. I just really like Seymour Duncan pickups for passive pickups. The JB has a nice and even sound with a fat bottom end and a nice and clear top end. The Nazgul sounds a bit more tight in the low end, a little bit less clear in the top end with a bit more mid-range push or bark. I prefer the Nazgul over the JB myself. In these guitars, it just sounds a little bit more aggressive for me, which I like. And the Distortion definitely has the highest output out of all the Duncans. I also really like how that pickup sounds. It sounds very clear. So yeah, all of the Duncans sound great and they absolutely have their own flavors going on. The Fishman also has a very unique sound, and I love the fact that these pickups have two different voicings that you get to choose from. The active voicing has a very pronounced EMG type sound, but it sounds even more EMG than an EMG does, if that makes sense. So the low end is even more tight and the mid-range bump is even more pronounced. Very tight sounding, and the passive voicing definitely sounds more nuanced with a sound that really reminds me of the Seymour Duncan JB, to be honest. It does really sound like a passive pickup, which is cool, but a little bit more clean and a little bit more sort of sterile than a Seymour Duncan, for example, but still a great sound. I like the EMGs too, especially the old classic 81. I just prefer the low-end tightness and the clarity of that one over the EMG 81TW, which also sounds great, but I just don't need that coil tap function on my guitar. But those pickups definitely sound great through this amplifier. It's an amp that works really well with EMG pickups. What are your thoughts on this comparison? Were the differences between the pickups more obvious with this tube amplifier, or did it not matter so much? Let me know. And of course, also let me know your thoughts on these pickups and which one was your favorite this time around. That's all for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below, as that really helps the channel out and it allows me to make more content for you guys in the future. So thanks for that. And you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, by the way. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you guys very soon. Cheers!